Imagine stumbling upon a bizarre old law, perhaps one about not singing off-key on a Sunday, or limiting the number of ice cream cones you can carry. It makes you wonder, are these quirky historical rules still actually enforceable today? Could they apply to you? The direct answer is that yes, an old statute can absolutely still be valid and enforceable, depending on its specific enforcement area, also known as its jurisdiction. The key to figuring this out is to understand where and how the law was originally enacted, and if anything has changed since then. The reason many old laws can remain on the books is quite simple. Laws typically stay in effect until they are officially repealed by the legislative body that created them, or struck down by a court. If a city council, county board, or state legislature passed a specific law decades ago and never revisited it, that statute might still be active. Sometimes, they are simply forgotten but legally binding, like dormant rules waiting to be rediscovered. So, how do you go about checking an old statute's valid enforcement area? First, you need to identify the exact governmental body that passed the law, whether it is a state, county, or city. Start by checking their official legislative websites, which often have searchable databases for statutes or municipal codes. Look for the original text of the law and any amendments or repeals. Pay close attention to its effective date and any clauses that might limit its duration, sometimes called a sunset provision. You should also search for judicial interpretations or court cases that might have affected the law's applicability or scope over time. When you are researching, you might encounter the term preemption. This is an important concept where a higher level of government, like a state, passes a law that overrides or limits the ability of a lower level of government, such as a city, to enforce a similar law. So, an old local ordinance might be invalidated if a newer state law now covers the same topic. Understanding preemption helps you see if a historical local rule has been quietly superseded without an explicit repeal. Remember, laws vary significantly by state, county, and municipality. Ultimately, checking an old statute's enforcement area boils down to diligent research into its origins, its journey through legislative changes, and any judicial reviews. By taking these steps, you can confidently determine whether that peculiar, old rule is still just a historical curiosity or a living legal requirement in its specified jurisdiction, empowering you with a clearer understanding of your local legal landscape.